What's up everyone, CR2 here. Hope you're doing well wherever and whenever you're watching from. And today we've got the NASCAR 1987's Qualify Practice Guide for Las Vegas. That is week 12, final week of the season. And just let me start off by saying this is probably the track that I practiced the most extensively before firing up a guide. I've got probably 410 laps logged before firing up the guide. Just trying to learn something. That long run pace, does the high line work? It does at some point, I believe, but in my opinion, it takes quite a lot to make it work. And a bit of a different fundamental driving approach to make that high line as fast as the low line, in my opinion. We'll get to that later on in the guide. Really quickly, 90 degrees on the track temperature. I've loaded in as cool as 88 or as warm as 93, so keep an eye on this. And 80%, much higher than the usual 45% you see for the guides, but this is for sake of really trying to find if that high line is as fast as the low line at some point in the race, perhaps late run. So we're going to try to explore that later on in the video. My personal preferences, 12 to 1 is usually, as you usually see, plus 6. The default is 58. I just dump it all the way down. I've tried it, I've tested it long run. It doesn't really make the car loose. This is a really good set in my opinion, but you just really have to be mindful of your right front tire temperature. Do not abuse that right front, if even let alone the left front, because that's how you really start to lose pace if you overheat that right front tire. Oh, actually, do want to set something up really quickly. Just a moment on this. There we go. Might be a little bit better to show off the hands for guides, as it's just an all-black steering wheel, and the wheel rotation probably doesn't show up so well on the video. Keep your speed right around 100 as usual. Once you see that blue cone, go ahead and hammer down. You're going to be full throttle pretty much from then on until you start until you're lifting off for turn 1. See this full throttle, full throttle, full throttle. .181 to start the lap. You're really going to send it, get down to that white line. A little bit too much send in my opinion. I could have done a little bit better there. 3 and 4 is a trouble spot. Get down to that white line. It's pushing, but you just gotta trust it'll make it. And then make your run as short as possible to the line. It's good for a 31.911. I feel like I left about half a tenth on the table, but I feel like a 31.9 is pretty competitive. Hop on out of the car really quickly. That 31.708 you see was with the 45% track state, if I remember correctly. Much more grip in the track with less rubber buildup for qualifying. So as you see, keep it close to the wall. Don't really need to run up right next to it in my opinion, because this is just all about trying to make your turn as smooth as possible. 181 just past the line. You're going to lift and brake pretty much right around this Cup Series sign with the associate sponsors. What does that look like in cockpit? Yeah. I feel like I could have made this approach a little bit better, just lower. You can see I'm trail braking. You really want to be down right on the line almost for your qualifying. A little bit more grip there. That's probably where I lost that half a tenth. Then for 3 and 4, You're going to lift and brake just before these hash marks on the track. These are really, really important to use for both qualifying and race, especially more in race. We'll go over that shortly. See, I got on down to the white line, clipped the apron even a little bit, and back on throttle. A few car lengths before this third set of hash marks. But you still have got to wait, especially for qualifying, because you're carrying so much more speed compared to your usual race pace. That's good. As you see, 31.91. Pretty competitive. I'm pretty sure somebody could get a 31.8 in the same track conditions. See, still 90 degrees, 80%. While we're rolling off here, your long run pace is really going to be on managing your right front tire temperature. That's all there is to it, really. That's the big secret. A little bit of lift here. For the first couple laps, I want you guys to really watch where we're putting the car compared to these hash marks throughout the turn, where I'm lifting, when I'm getting back on throttle. You see just before that second pair of hash marks, keeping it low, keeping it low. Not tracking up to the wall up until that track light off of turn 2. Lift out the track light into 3, get low. And you gotta wait much longer in turn 3 and 4 to get back on throttle versus 1 and 2. See a 32.7 to kick off our run. Lift. Get down low. Back on throttle right before the second pair of hash marks. Keep it low, keep it low. Lift. A little bit of brake. I'm going to shut up for a couple laps just to really put in a proper example of the line on throttle markers and such. Missed the low line quite a bit there. Clip the apron transition a bit there, just a small bit. Gonna pause this coming up right about now. So there's a bunch of these pairs of hash marks around the track, 14 sets I believe around the whole track. These are really important to use. Not really so much in the front stretch. Utilize them anyway, but the real ones to look out for are into the turns, coming out of the turns. Same thing for 3 and 4. I'm gonna do my best to pause it for pretty much each one. You got this set right here. You can barely see the one on the left. I like to lift, turn in at the track light. this one here. Probably have your center line of the car right around here. Try to get to that low line. Once you're up to the next pair, you kind of want to be just below that first one right there. You can barely see it. You see right here. Keep it low. This here's an important one. I missed it a little bit. Kind of hard to pause and drive as we go. But off of turn 2, I like to have my left sides running right over this marker right here. Really good exit marker. You don't have to be exact. A little bit higher is all right, but really off of turn 2, if you're really trying to run the low line, you really don't want to be pushing off. You don't want to be pushing towards the wall here or right next to the Leuna sign right here. I don't really like to be next to the wall off of turn 2 until you're approaching this track light right here. To me, that's a really good exit line, keeping both front tires in mind. Smooth low exit. Lift coming up at the track light. Oh, missed that one. Try to be center line or lower. This set here is really important. This is the third pair of hash marks into turn 3 and 4. This is about your back on throttle point throughout the run. Use this as your on throttle point just before it. This is an important one. If you're on throttle too soon, you're going to push up big time towards the wall off of turn 4 where you see that Las Vegas USA sign. This is an important one. This set here as well, I like to have my left sides just above it, on it. This one I don't really pay attention to unless I'm running a higher line. I'm not really paying attention to high line that much. We'll cover it a little bit later in the video, but mainly low line is a way to go, in my opinion. And you're not really pushing up towards the wall off of turn 4 until you're approaching this track condition light. Lift at the track light, over the inner hash mark, inside that hash mark, inside it, left side's at or just above there, run next to the wall, lift at the track light, run it over inside that I clip the apron, just above it, track light. Kind of doing something not so great there that past time through 3 and 4. I turned the wheel just a bit more after the center of the turn. That's not good. What's going to be really important throughout this race is you don't chase lap time. Do not chase lap time. The fall off is fairly aggressive through the first 15 laps and then it kind of stops after there. You can push it a little bit harder. I tried an aggressive 25 lap run and I think I hit the wall pretty hard off of turn 4 about lap 17 or 18. Went and checked the right front temperature. It was 265 degrees. That's too hot. Trust me, that's too hot. From what I've seen and felt, the grip limit of the right front tire, probably the same with the right rear tire, is 250 degrees Fahrenheit. If you can keep it cooler than that, awesome job. But from what I've seen, I've done a couple 60 lap runs just to really dial in that long run pace. 250 degrees is about what you're going to run at, trying to maximize both long run pace and tire saving, so really more tire saving than speed. See just how long I'm waiting to get back on throttle for 3 and 4. Lift off. Get to the white line. Little too much speed. Just a bit. Lift off, tiny bit of brake. Wait for that third pair of markers, and back on throttle. Now just watch and see what it looks like when you're on throttle too early. Turn 2 is a little bit more forgiving, but 3 and 4 is really the dangerous one. Back on throttle here. You can see we're just pushing up. We're on throttle, we're pushing up. And you are going to have to back off and brake even. 3 and 4 is really bad. So you're back on throttle right about here. See, we're pushing up big time. You have got to be patient, especially in 3 and 4. That's going to be the turn that people are going to mess up, melt their right front. Give it about lap 25, they're going to start falling back pretty badly. See there, keep the exit low. Not near the wall up until that track condition light off of turn 4. Very strangely enough, I feel like I'm messing up 1 and 2 more than 3 and 4. This is about lap 15 of this run we're on now, and that's about the point where you've really got... About lap 15 into your run is where you really got to back it down and just manage your tire temperatures, manage your lap time pace. See, keeping the exit low. I feel like I even should have waited just a hair longer for back on throttle. Now once you come in for your pit stop, you'll notice that the left front is worn a fair bit more compared to the left rear. I've really no idea how to save the left front. I've tried, I can't really figure it out. It happens at some tracks. Chicagoland was a little bit of one. Bristol, although a short track, the left front tends to wear quite a bit there for some reason. And I just can't really find some way to reliably save the left front. But that doesn't mean just go on and forget about it entirely. It's going to wear out anyway. We're going to try a little bit of a different line. It's still the low line, we're just taking a higher entry line. And you're going to see the difference it makes here. You see that difference on exit it makes. We're sacrificing the entry a little bit to get back on throttle sooner and offer a stronger run off of the turns. But make no mistake, you're still keeping the same lift-off marker. can see that's about half a tenth faster. And especially off of turn 2, it's a really good way to set up passes and get this strong run onto the back straight versus people running exclusively the low line the whole way around. I definitely recommend using a little bit of brake if you're going to utilize that higher entry. But make sure you get that braking done before you're loading that right front into the baking. And you'll see I was a solid tenth and a half, almost 2/10 slower, but this is just taking what the car gives you lap by lap. If you try to force the car, if you try to chase some time, you're going to overheat the right front. Do not overheat the right front no matter what. If you give up a tenth or two to a car ahead or a car behind, just eat the time loss. It's so much harder to get heat out of the tires rather than just eating a little bit of time loss. Keep your right front or your right rear happy with you, depending whether it's a right front or right rear wearing type of track and setup combo. And you see just how much longer I'm waiting to get back on throttle, especially in 3 and 4. A little bit of brake again, get down low. I'm not really sure if draft will play a factor like it kind of did with Chicagoland. I don't think it will, because Las Vegas is a track that absolutely punishes right front abuse. And Vegas is also a little bit narrower of a track surface compared to Chicagoland, so be sure to keep that in mind. The pack should get strung out probably about 15 to 20 laps in. Now with that being said, that does put a greater emphasis on qualifying in my opinion. That felt a little too early on throttle to me. Kind of holding steady right now in the 34.2, 34.1 range. I really think we could probably find a tenth out of the time right now. See that, just be smooth, be patient. Yeah, honestly, I think it might be better to just let off throttle and let the car roll the center. Because it does let you carry a little bit more speed into the turn without forcing the car to do that. See, look at that, easily a tenth faster right now. That's going to take us into the low 34.0s. See just how delicate I'm being with the throttle. Not full throttle when we're back on it, maybe about 60% initial throttle, just to keep your speed up. Then once you're straightening the wheel out, you can start putting on a little bit more throttle. Alright, so I am going to clock out for a little bit, run about 30 more laps. You guys will see me in about 5 more seconds probably, but really just to see what this will look like after a 60 lap run. We're going to see what the tires look like, see what the car will actually behave like in a proper mock race run scenario. So you guys will see me back here momentarily, except with 25 to 30 more laps on the clock. Alright, so we are back. You can see coming to take lap not 56. It'll be a lap 53 on this respective run, I believe. You can see we're still clocking 33 nines at times, 34 ones here and there, 34 zeros more consistently. And this is just through immense patience on throttle, not overdriving your entry, not overdriving the center, not forcing the fronts to do more work than they will, taking only what the car is going to give you. You see lift, still get on low, be patient. About 50 to 60% initial throttle, back on full. And there we are, 34.0. Now let's just say 5 laps to go until your pit stop. Trying to get a little more out of your tires, maybe extend your gap a little bit. Three and 4 really favors from that slightly higher entry, cut on down for a straighter exit, and you can get back on power a little bit earlier. That's good for easily a 10 to see a 33.93. Give up some time there, but we're going to get back on throttle earlier and much stronger. Ooh, had to force it to make that exit a little bit, so pretty dead even. But 3 and 4 really benefits from that exit. And from that cut down line. You're still keeping the low exit, you're just changing up your entry. You see we get the wall a little bit there. So let's see if we can try to make the high line work comparatively. Now in my opinion, it's a big time fundamental change in your driving. You can see we're about 1/10 and a half behind. Brake. You absolutely have to use the brake. And you can see I didn't really make it work. And just the reason why I think it doesn't work is the track sort of widens a few feet in the bakings, I believe, where it's like the wall goes away from the apron rather than keeping a consistent distance all the way around like you see with, say, Homestead, Charlotte perhaps, Kansas especially. You can see we're easily 2/10 slower, so really trying to dial a lap in. It's very tough for me to make the near wall rider line work. Almost got to do a diamond line, brake, wash up to the wall for a straight but more powerful exit. I think this just heats up the right side tires. I can't really make it work all that well. But I've seen a couple 87s drivers make it work without seemingly heating up the tires too much. So definitely try it, everyone. If you can make it work, go for it. Just be wary that it might bring on a little bit more tire heat than you want. Got to brake a little bit later. And yeah, that's the downside to it. You're going to give it a couple more laps. As far as your green flag pit strategy, just take a full first can only. And trying to add in 12 will trigger a fuel can swap and easily add a couple seconds to your pit stop. It's just not worth it. And right side tires as usual. I think the highest line that you can reliably make work is instead just above or just below that outer hash mark throughout the turns. See here, we're just above it. Still keeping the same on throttle marker. I feel like I was a little bit too early on throttle there. And we're about the same time as compared to the lower line. Strong exit there, but I felt like I was on throttle a little bit too soon. And 34.0. We're going to come on into pit this time around. Definitely recommend hiking up your brake bias a decent bit. And typically once you see the Sunoco sign in your window net view,
you've got about 5 laps of fuel.
You get a little bit more out of it really. It's a long run up. Tire temperature is really what I want to see here.
Pit box in 10, 5, 3, 2, 1. Right here.
245, so alright. Not bad. You can see here 68% wear on the left front.
Go, go, go!
The higher line may work much better with 2 tires as they kind of offer much better natural rotation. So we'll give that a shot. Keep in mind 34.013 for our last lap. Little loose, feels really good actually, just be careful. Now remember, keep your same lift off brake points, back on throttle points. You don't want to take away your natural tire advantage earlier than you should. If anything, new right side tires, new all 4 tires just let you carry more center speed, but keep your lift off on throttle markers all the same. You can see 32.806, 1.2 seconds faster. We're going to try to make the high line work here. .2, but that's also just natural fall off. Now, I'm going to try that wall rider line. You see, just get back on throttle hard once you feel the nose turning down the banking. Give it one more lap, and then we will call it a day. if you're trying to make the wall rider line work, near wall rider line, you're going to be on the brakes pretty hard initially. You want to have your braking done by the time you're approaching corner center. If you're on the brakes in the center, I'm fairly sure you're just asking too much of the right front. You can see there, 33.29. That was about a 5-lap run on 2 tires, I believe. Oh yeah, let's get one more look at this at that green flag pit stop. So you see 245, 221 on the rear, 63%, 64%, so very even on that on the right side tire wear. Left front wearing a lot compared to the left rear. I have no idea how to slow this down. I just have no idea. I've tried to find some way. Maybe it's just backing down the pace, maybe being a little bit more patient on throttle, lower exit maybe. I have no idea, but typically it's the right side you only care about with most stock cars. Let's see if this changed at all. 89 degrees. I believe we started at 90. And also 226, 220. A little bit more use on the right rear when we're rolling around on right side tires. So, just really quickly to overview all the laps. To start it, 32.7, falling off, and it's really about lap 20 into the run. We're kind of at the end of the fall off, maybe a couple laps earlier than that, and you see from that just consistently 34.2, 34.2, 34.2. Maybe I was a little bit slow on that, but then you see from that just 34.1, 34.1, 34.0, 33.9, 34.1, 34.0. It's very time consuming, but I really recommend you guys to go out, practice 50 laps, help practice a full fuel run, and if you can push lap 60 and you're still rolling 34 zeros, 33 nines, you're doing something correctly. Trust me on that. And yeah, just to really review, be patient on throttle, especially off of turn 4. Don't abuse the front tires no matter what. Highline might be useful with a high track use state, so practice the highline a little bit here and there, just so you're ready if that highline ever comes into use. If your race gets the green flag pit stops, right side tires, add 11 gallons. Minimal fuel is irrelevant. You want as much fuel as possible to help your rotation. And patience. There might be some people that take off, gap you by a couple seconds by lap 25, but if they're really pushing their right fronts, they're going to fall back to you soon after that. If you feel like somebody is running too hard, just let them go. Just let them go, because this is a track that will punish you if you're chasing track position, if you're chasing lap time. Do not do that. Your long run speed is all in the front tire care. This car doesn't shake loose at all. A little bit on 2 tires, but that's really about it. So other than that, good luck, guys. Anything you want to ask down in the comments, feel free to. Heck, even just let me know how your race went. And I'll see you next time around. Thank you for watching.